right, and that QR code will be disappearing in about 20 seconds. So now is your last chance to enter our drawing. Again, welcome to the Justice National Scout Camp Webinar 1. We are going to get started in about 15 seconds. All right, it is now 7:03 p.m., so we are going to go ahead and get started. Thanks again for joining us for our first webinar for the Justice National Scout Camp here at the Summit Bechtel Reserve. We are super excited that you will be visiting us here at the Summit in 2024. We have lots of great plans for a really exciting summer, and we are thrilled that you are going to experience all of the magic of the program and the wonders of this great property with us. One quick note before we delve into our topics for this evening. So we utilize the chat box throughout the meeting to allow you to ask questions and allow us to respond to questions. If you submitted a question using Microsoft Forms prior to the meeting, the answers to those questions are at the end of this presentation. Additionally, we will allow you to unmute at the very end to ask any questions that you have. But throughout the meeting, you're more than welcome and encouraged to ask questions in the chat, and we will respond to those. And I will introduce you to my co-host here in just one moment. I did want to make one quick note on the scope of this meeting and taking notes. So first off, the information in the webinar is not meant to be exhaustive. We would be here until midnight tomorrow, going over every single detail. So please feel free to ask questions if you are curious about a topic that is not covered. We also have a couple of webinars that follow this one during which we will address some topics more specifically. Additionally, please don't worry about taking feverish notes. I do, after the end of the webinar, send an email with both the presentation that we're using tonight and some supporting documents and notes. So there's no need to take a bunch of screenshots or anything like that, although you are welcome to. We also record the webinar. That recording will be shared with you, and it will be available at summitbsa.org. All right, so my name is Johnny Tracy. I am the Justice National Scout Camp Program Manager here at the Summit. A couple of other contacts. We have a registration team with whom many of you have interacted to make registration adjustments or submit payments or payment questions. Our fantastic registration team is available at summit.program@scouting.org. We are lucky to have both the seasonal camp director, Victoria Davis, and a seasonal program director, Brent Pete, who are on our team. Very fortunate this evening to have Brent Pete joining us. Brent, say hi to everybody really quickly.
Hi, everyone.
All right, thanks, Brent. So Brent is actually a recruiter here at the Summit, and we'll talk about some staffing opportunities for those older scouts or new scouters a little bit later. But Brent actually basically lives and works here at the Summit kind of year-round. So we're thrilled to have him on this call, and he'll be talking about some program topics a little later. One quick note for everyone. So everyone is very familiar and comfortable discussing any questions with reference to your troop number. Typically, we can find you by registration name or your troop number. One quick note is that it is helpful if you include your expedition number, which everyone received after they made that initial registration, and which is formatted as SC 061624 or the date of your arrival, and then a letter that corresponds to the order in which you registered at the end. So if you can reference that number when you reach out, that will allow us to find your reservation, registration, and help you just a little bit more easily. Okay, so we'll give everyone a quick overview of the summit. So the summit is a lot of things. Many people know the summit as the permanent home of the National Jamboree and the occasional home of the World Scout Jamboree. And both of those are very important identities of the summit. Each summer, the summit offers a variety of programs for scouting participants, so venturers, scouts, explorers who come either to the scout camp or to participate in one of our high adventure activities, or to, then we also welcome a number of visitors who are visiting Family Adventure Camp, for which participants can but don't have to be registered in scouting. And we also offer some fantastic training opportunities. So tonight we'll be focusing on the program and some of those specific preparations for the Justice National Scout Camp. If you have unit members who are participating in another program, there are specific webinars offered for the different programs. So that's a quick overview of what we do here at the summit. Again, we are so much more to experience and explore than the Jamboree. So we are super excited that you are joining us. So this evening, we will start with discussing registration and planning information. I'll be the primary speaker on this, and then after which I'll hand it over to Brent to talk about some of our program elements. So to get started, the summitvsa.org website contains a number of resources, and it can be accessed on this slide or from this slide by clicking the URL or scanning the QR code. Again, the Summit website contains a number of helpful resources for all of the programs that we offer. So that's one place to find good information. Additionally, as I would say a really key supplement, the Scout Camp Leader Guide, the cover for which is shown on the screen here, is available at the URL on the screen and also by scanning the QR code. So this guide contains many of the answers to common questions and gives a good preview of the program and the various opportunities that we have here at the Justice National Scout Camp for both your scouts and your adults. So again, while we have attempted to cover every topic, and you'll notice that from the length of the guide, while we have attempted to cover every topic, there may be some outstanding questions. So always feel free to reach out and we'll be more than happy to assist with any questions that you have. So first we are going to discuss the registration process, and I believe everyone or almost everyone on this call has interacted with at least one of our registration systems. And so I want to distinguish that and emphasize that we use two separate registration systems for participants who are visiting the Justice National Scout Camp at the summit. The first is called the Event Management System, which is the platform on which you place your initial reservation, make that initial registration. So in the Event Management System, many, if not all of you, have created a registration for your unit. In this system, participants, so your scouts and your adults, are named and connected to their scouting profiles so that all of their information pulls to the registration roster. This is also the system through which individual participant waivers are signed electronically and all camp fee payments are made. So those are the highlights of the event management system. Again, everyone has, or at least all of the primary unit leaders have interacted with the event management system so far. And everyone will eventually to sign those participant waivers. The second platform that we use and really important for Scout Camp is called Black Pug. Black Pug is a platform used by a number of BSA councils throughout the country, and I know that many of you are familiar with Black Pug. And the reason why we use Black Pug is because Black Pug allows us to give unit leaders and or parents and guardians um, a portal through which to make merit badge and other program selections for their scouts. And one key thing here is that payments for any buy-up programs, which are supplemental to the advancement programs that we offer in Scout Camp, are made through Black Pug. So if you're a little confused or you're not sure on what the difference between the two is, um, in future webinars, we will discuss in depth both how to use Black Pug as a unit leader and how to enable the parent portal, which is a feature of Black Pug that allows parents and guardians to make individual selections for their scouts. So we'll discuss that in depth. But for those of you who are familiar, that is a quick note there. And I think we had a question in the chat about that. And so, yep, the good news is that we do use Black Pug for merit badge and program registration. And again, the primary reason for that is that the event management system doesn't have a way for individuals to register for sessions or for their progress to be tracked. And I know there would be a lot of unhappy scouts and parents and leaders who, if you came to camp for the week and didn't get credit for anything you did. So that's why we use Black Pug. If you have any questions about either of the registration platforms that we use, please don't hesitate to reach out. As I said, as we progress toward the summer, I will be available specifically really at any time you need to assist with particularly use of the Black Pug registration system. And we're always happy to help with it. All right, so the next topic related to that registration reservations system process is concerns payments. So all camp fee payments are made either by check or by electronic check on the event management system, with the exception of program fees for buy-up programs. So your initial deposits in the event management system can be paid with a debit or credit card, but all subsequent payments must be made with a check, which you can mail to the summit, or using an electronic check, which you can submit through the registration system. The typical payment schedule is listed here. So at the time of your reservation, you paid a $250 deposit. If you registered earlier by March 1st of the published timeline, 10% of your remaining fees would be due. By November 1st, or within 30 days of your registration, 50% of your remaining fees would be due. And then 90 days before your arrival at the summit, the balance of your remaining fees would be due. So a quick note here, and I know that I've talked to several folks on the call specifically about this. One quick note is that you may be slightly off the schedule, or you may have talked to me or someone on the registration team about like holding off paying for this scout or that scout. If that's the case, that's totally fine. However, just to note that you will get reminders from the registration team, and we do strongly encourage paying on this timeline. So someone asked about the dates that are listed here. So essentially, if you registered off of this timeline, which many, if not virtually all of you did, your first 10%, the first 10% of your fees are due within 30 days of registration. Your second 50% of your fees are due within 30 days after that. And then 90 days before your arrival at the summit, the balance of your remaining fees are due. So I will say that the most important thing to consider here is that the registration team wants everyone to be paid before they arrive at the summit. So that's the main thing. And if you have any specific questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. I do realize that many payment or questions around payments are kind of unit specific. So we're always happy to help if you have a question in that realm. So one opportunity that we want to make sure all unit leaders, parents, and guardians know is that the summit does offer campership awards or financial assistance to youth participants. So the youth participant who wants to apply for campership assistance must be registered as a member of the Boy Scouts of America, and that participant must be listed on the unit roster for attending the Justice National Scout Camp in the event management system. So the parent or guardian typically completes the campership application, and the My Scouting account for the youth for whom the award is being applied um, so that information is needed beforehand. There is a document linked here with specific step-by-step instructions for accessing the campership portal and completing the application. And so this is, again, a way to make this experience accessible to all of the scouts in your units. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and we'll be more than happy to assist. So please make sure if you have any scouts who need financial assistance that you make them aware of this opportunity. Okay. So next, I want to give everyone a preview of the forms that each individual, so both youth and adults, will need when they arrive at the summit. So the most important one, and probably the one that many of you expect, is the BSA Annual Health and Medical Record, commonly called the BSA Health Form. And so the summit, as any summer camp or high adventure experience does, requires parts A, B, and C of the BSA Annual Health and Medical Record. This can be specific to this can be the summit specific form or the general BSA form. They're both the same. The summit specific form contains some information about some of the other program risks that participants accept when they come here, but there's nothing additional to sign or acknowledge. And so I will send a follow-up email that includes the Summit Health form. As a reminder, the BSA Annual Health and Medical Record must be current. Current means that it was completed within the last 12 months. The form technically expires at the end of the month, 1 year later, in which the physical examination was given. So let me give you a specific example. So if a scout has a BSA Annual Health and Medical Record that was completed on July 7th, 2023, that medical form is good through July 30th, 2024. So it's good till the end of the month, 1 year from the time that it was given. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask or reach out. But that is the policy of the Boy Scouts of America. So additionally, if any of the scouts or adults in your unit want to request an immunization exemption, they should complete that form and attach it to their copy of the annual health and medical record. Again, this will be in the follow-up email that we send, so don't worry about Googling that, even though you can find it pretty easily if you Google it. Additionally, every individual who visits the site has to complete a waiver that is specific to the summit. This waiver is completed electronically either by the participant, if the participant is over the age of 18, or by the parent or guardian of the participant if they are under 18. These waivers are emailed to the address on file for the individual through the event management system, and our registration team will give you some additional information on that. The next note is the whitewater waiver. Whitewater waivers must be completed on paper and submitted at check-in. This waiver will be shared for Scout Camp participants. This form only needs to be completed if for any scouts or adults who are going on a whitewater trip, either the half-day trip or the full-day merit badge trip. And finally, and something that is specific to the summit and maybe a little bit different from other places, is that the summit registration team requires any adult, and adults or anyone over the age of 18 years old must show physical proof of youth protection training completion. So there are a couple of ways that this can work. So individuals can show printed or digital proof on a mobile device. Alternatively, the unit can submit an official report that shows that the participating adult leaders have completed the training. So, but again, anyone over the age of 18 must complete BSA protection training and have proof when they check in. A couple of notes. So if you have any questions or concerns about medical exemptions of any sort, this is vague because it's a very broad topic. You can let us know about those by clicking the link to the form here and completing that form. And then our health and safety team will be in touch with you shortly after that. Additionally, one question that we get quite often is a question about unit members, so youth and adults who have specific dietary needs. So the Summit food service staff is very responsive and accommodating to a variety of specific dietary needs, and we will provide additional information about how to notify us or how to communicate with us any of the needs that anyone in your unit has at a later time. But just know that we have the infrastructure and mindset in place to accommodate most needs. I would say if you have any specific questions about specific dietary needs, please feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to help. So next, we'll talk about notes on arriving at the summit. So a final detailed arrival plan for the 2024 season will be shared with all participants very soon. Check-in will most likely occur at the Pickett headquarters building, which is actually where I'm coming to you from right now. This is Scout Camp headquarters, and so you'll get a kind of a preview of the nerve center of Scout Camp when you check in. If you have been to the summit in the past, check in for any program in which you were participating was most likely at the Ruby Welcome Center. So I do want to make a point to say that we will not be using the Ruby Welcome Center. You will come on site when you get to the area. You will not go to the Ruby Welcome Center. So if you've never been to the summit before, just know that you'll come on site and we'll have very specific step-by-step instructions for you. You will be informed that the official arrival window for or preferred arrival window is between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. on the day of your arrival. So that for Scout Camp, that would be Sunday. So you are welcome to arrive before, during, or after this. We strongly, strongly encourage Justice National Scout Camp units to arrive on the property of the summit between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. We encourage this because we want to be able to give your scouts and your leaders a tour. We want to give you time to get settled into your campsite. We don't want you to be rushing to dinner and to the leaders meeting. And so this is the window that we strongly encourage. We totally understand that things happen. And so if you're before that, that's totally great. We can definitely get you all in there. If you're after that, just know that we will be on a slightly more compressed timeline, and we may not be able to give you the full tour, the full kind of check-in experience that we want to. So that's just a quick note there on that arrival time. Okay, so the final topic that I will be discussing before I turn it over to Brent is camp life and what the equipment and facilities that we offer here are. So had a couple of questions that which I addressed specifically at the end. But so the summit provides dome tents to unit participants if rented. If your unit did not rent tents, you please make sure to bring your own tent. So cots are provided for all participants. So just a quick note there. So cots are provided for everyone, regardless of whether that participant is using a summit tent, whereas tents are only provided if they are rented. If you have any questions about that, please reach out. I'll be more than happy to help understand that or elucidate that process in any way that will help. So additionally, a dining canopy, a 10-foot by 20-foot dining canopy is provided for all units. Picnic tables are provided, though we certainly encourage scouts and leaders to bring chairs. We provide above ground fire rings for all of the participants or all of the units. We have shower houses, which are called polygons, colloquially here at the summit. These facilities have flush toilets and mirror sinks, potable water. The showers available in many of the shower houses are ambient temperature or cold showers. Although fortunately we should have access to a couple of spaces with some heated showers, but most of the polygons are not heated, and so we just want to be upfront and clear about that from the outset. So just a quick note there. And we also have AT&T Wi-Fi, which is available camp-wide. And you are Scout Camp participants, not Trek participants. So primarily you will be eating in the dining hall, the wonderful Picket Dining Hall, which is relatively very easily accessible from the camping areas. And again, I know there were a couple of other specific questions. Several of those are at the end. And so we'll be more than happy to address any other questions that you might have. So at this point, we are going to do our first giveaway of the evening, and I've got a randomized Excel list here. So give me 1 second, and we will pick a winner. All right. So our winner for our first giveaway this evening is Eric Lepo. Eric Lepo. So I'm going to make a note of that. And Eric, I will reach out to you after the meeting to get your contact information. But congratulations, Eric. You've won a Summit towel, a Summit cap, and a Summit shirt. So congratulations, and hopefully you'll be able to rock us out. So I'm going to turn it over to Brent, and I will be keeping an eye on the chat. Brent?
Awesome. Thank you, Johnny. Good evening, everyone. Like Johnny said, my name's Brent Pete. I have the privilege of being the program director here at Justice National Scout Camp. And to that end, I get to tell you about all of the fun stuff that we do here. So we'll start with the brief overview, which is our daily schedule. So on the left here, you can see what our day-to-day looks like. So a couple of key things that I want to point out here is our leaders meeting at 9:30 a.m. That's every day. So make sure that you send at least one leader to that meeting so that they can learn about all of the juicy details that we come up with. And the other thing is our SPL meeting at 5:15 p.m. not each day, only on Tuesday and Thursday. And then some particulars for Sunday and Friday. Sunday being our check-in day and Friday being our last day of program. Like Johnny mentioned, on Sunday, we have a fairly tight schedule. So I'll reiterate, please try to arrive before that 2 p.m. deadline so that we can make sure that we get you a good tour of camp and get you all settled in before you have to go to your leaders meeting and dinner. Also on Sunday is our amazing opening campfire that we'll be putting on for y'all, and we're really excited to have you here for that. And then jumping forward to Friday, you'll notice that awards and skits are due at 1 p.m. So our closing campfire, we encourage our scouts to do the skits and the songs and the entertainment for that. And we ask that all of those are submitted by 1 p.m., which is the end of lunchtime. As far as awards, we'll go into that in more detail later. But there are a few camp-specific awards that you can earn here at the Justice National Scout Camp, and we ask that those forms are submitted by 1 p.m. All right, next slide, please. The Scouts BSA advancement is a core part of our program here at the Justice National Scout Camp. It's what we emphasize, it's what we lean on, and it's what we provide to all of your scouts. So the primary focus of a lot of our sessions are the merit badges. And you'll see that when you're looking at your registration options in Black Pug. The Brown Sea Island program is our first year camper program. So it's called a lot of different things at a lot of different camps. Ours is Brown Sea Island, and it takes place on Brown Sea Island in the middle of one of our lakes. So a little bit of naming nomenclature there. And that includes advancement work for your first few ranks. And then we also provide instruction for first aid and swimming merit badges. Our buy-up opportunities are high adventure tastes. So when you come to Scout Camp here at the summit, like I said, our focus is on advancement, but especially for those older scouts, we want to give you an opportunity to experience just a little bit of the high adventure that we have to offer here. So that can include some great opportunities that we'll discuss more in the near future here, but those are at a slight up cost, but they are once in a lifetime opportunities. And then the leader's guide that we gave you a brief glimpse of the cover of earlier. It's 75-page glory, has every piece of information you could possibly want to know about the summit. So I highly, highly encourage you to read through that for all of the listings of merit badges and other programs. Here are the other award opportunities that I mentioned earlier. So at the top there, we have our merit and honor units. And then there's also the Justice Unit of the Week. So the Justice Unit of the Week is something that is chosen by the staff members. So make sure that you're encouraging your scouts to be attentive and engaged in their merit badge sessions. And then the merit and honor units are a list of requirements to encourage your unit's participation here at the summit. And those are the sheets that we ask that are submitted by 1 p.m. on Friday. A few others are listed here that we have available. A key one that I want to point out is our Hunter's Education Certification course. So we do have a Hunter's Education program here at the Summit. It's an excellent program, and then they have a skills center that goes along with it. However, there is a little bit of a process to go through to acquire that Hunter's Ed certification. And more details about that will be coming to you in the near future. So keep an eye out on that. Next slide, please. The program schedule is the complete listing of all of our programs here at the summit that are available to Justice National Scout Camp participants. The 2024 program schedule is still in the works. We're still working on making sure that it is as great as it can be for all of you. And will be shared in advance of our second webinar. So that will be shared in advance, and then we can go over any questions about that schedule during that second webinar. Some additions might be made to this program schedule if we get extra staff or some extra time available. But what we present to you on February 27th will be at a bare minimum what we will be providing to you this summer. And here is a small slice of that program schedule. So you can see here Monday, some of the Scout Camp programs that we're offering. So on the left is the program area, something anywhere from aquatics to ecology to STEAM, and then the location of the program, and then what that program is in the third and fourth column. So you'll see that some of our programs are half day and some programs are full day. So for instance, rowing merit badge in row 3 of aquatics, that is one of our half-day programs, so that will be Monday morning. However, welding merit badge, which is row 3 of life skills, that is one of our full-day programs. So a scout will need to participate in both the morning and afternoon of that program in order to earn the merit badge. We'll help you simplify that Black Pug registration by making it so that when you select one of them, it will automatically add the other one to your registration. And that should hopefully minimize any confusion that you experience. You may notice that Monday afternoon, there are a couple of instances of swimming merit badge, and you see that it says 1 of 1. That is supposed to be 1 of 2. And the way that that will work is we have half of the swimming merit badge Monday afternoon and half of swimming merit badge Tuesday afternoon. So just like your full day merit badge, a la welding, the swimming merit badge, you will automatically be put into the session Tuesday afternoon so that you experience the entirety of that program. Next slide, please. All right, so here's some more details about our session structure. So like you saw on the daily schedule, our program sessions are Monday or morning and afternoon, 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. and then 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. So on the left, you see the 2 block sessions that are same day. So you'll go there, for instance, Monday morning and Monday afternoon. And on the right, you'll see sessions that are on different days. So cooking, for instance, will be Monday morning and Tuesday morning. All right. Next slide, please. Here are our buy-up programs. So like I said, this is your taste of high adventure. These are registered for and paid for in the Black Pug system, and they include a lot of the different opportunities that our high adventure participants have here at the summit, but you just get a taste of them here at the National Scout Camp. So some of the most popular ones are Alexander's Eagle Flight, formerly known as the Big Zip. We're kind of known for that, and it is one of the greatest experiences here at the summit. And then locally, we have the New River right in our backyard, which is some of the best whitewater rafting in the country. So if you have the opportunity, I highly encourage you to take a look at some of those whitewater opportunities, and we'd love to send you out there for one of those great experiences. Now our camp-wide events. So these are mostly in the evenings. Okay, so you may have seen on the program schedule, Monday evening was the Appalachian Celebration, which is Monday evening and includes live music, field games, a bunch of interesting activities for you there that are specific to that program Monday evening. It's a camp-wide event. So any participant at the summit at that time is welcome to attend, whether they are doing one of our whitewater treks or our ATV trek or summit experience, whatever the case may be, everyone will be there. So you'll get to meet scouts from all over the country. Some things that are more specific to the scout camp are our campfires, which are Sunday for opening and Friday for closing. Our OA rededication ceremony on Wednesday gives you an opportunity to see the Summit Circle, which is a relocation of the first OA ceremonial ring at Treasure Island. It was brought here to the summit for everyone to experience and enjoy. And then we have a variety of other competitions and special events throughout the week that will be announced at later dates. At the summit, we do have a number of opportunities for adult leaders to participate in the scouting fun. So anything from trainings to experiencing some of the buy-up programs as adults, we invite you to participate as much as you are able in the summit experience. So some of the training opportunities we have include the Leave No Trace Trainer or Leave No Trace Level 1 Educator, which is a day and a half experience that encourages environmental awareness and stewardship. We have Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills, which is a required training for any of our assistant or scoutmasters there. Trek Safely is a great training if you're looking at some of those more intense high adventure treks. We have aquatics trainings and all sorts of other exciting opportunities. And if you are less enthusiastic as far as our adventure opportunities, I encourage you to take a look at our Scoutmaster Merit Badge, including our all important requirement of take a nap. I hear that that is one of the favorites. Next slide, please. So speaking of aquatics, one thing that is incredibly important for your unit, especially for the folks that will want to participate in our aquatics programs, is that we need you to complete your swim checks prior to your arrival at the summit. So there is a swim check form in the appendix of your leader's guide that you can use to verify the completion of those swim checks prior to the arrival at the summit. But make sure to take a look at that. And if you have any questions about swim checks, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll do our best to answer them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Johnny for our second giveaway here.
Thank you so much, Brent. I really appreciate that. Very fortunate to have Brent on the call with me this evening, as last season I did all of these alone, so I had to talk the entire time. So very much appreciate Brent being here, and very fortunate to have Brent working here to improve the summit year-round. So at this point, since I wasn't talking, I have the winner of our second giveaway selected, and that winner is Katie Spalding. So Katie Spalding is our second winner tonight. Congratulations, Katie, and I will be getting in touch to get you your amazing Summit Swag prizes very soon. All right. So a couple of things that we want to highlight before we get to the submitted and any other questions. So first off, the summit utilizes a portal called Scout Connections, on which units can advertise any open spots or open their unit to um, open spaces in their unit to scouts whose unit may not be participating in the summit. So this is a good resource. Just to be honest, most of the posts on here are scouts looking for a spot, many of them not necessarily in the scout camp side. And so what I would say, or what I would ask, is if you are interested in hosting provisional scouts in your unit during the week that you're here, drop me a quick email. My email is there, and I think I've emailed most, if not everyone, on the call. So just let me know, and we always ask before we send any provisional scouts your way, but we would absolutely love the help to ensure that scouts who may not get the experience of the summit have a chance to do that. Additionally, one of our biggest year-round efforts here at the Summit Bechtel Reserve is hosting, recruiting, and hiring a fantastic staff of nearly 300 to work in one of our many program or operational areas. So this summer, we're actually doing really well. Brent is our Scout Camp Program Director. He is also the recruiter in charge of Scout Camp recruiting. This time last year, we had hired, I think, 2 people. And as of this week, we've hired close to 85% of the 2024 seasonal staff. That said, we still have a number of openings in a number of areas. So if you know someone who is 18 years old or older and is interested in having the summer of their lifetime, the best job they will ever have, please encourage them to apply at summitbsa.org/jobs. That site can also be accessed by scanning the QR code on this slide, or please put them in touch with us. We'd love to speak with anyone who might be interested and tell them why the summit is the best place to have a summer job. So please encourage anyone you know to check that out. All right, so I've got some submitted questions that were sent in through the Microsoft Forms link that I shared in one of the meeting reminders. So again, these are just questions that were asked using that resource, and so I'll answer those here. Please feel free to continue to enter any questions that you have in the chat. So the first question, are there ways to incorporate ATVs, high power rifle shooting, or backpacking to attract older scouts? So the program specifically mentioned here we do offer at the summit, but those are primarily geared toward Trek participants. For the first two, the ATV Trek and the Marksman experience specifically. We do offer hiking and backpacking merit badge, although that kind of high adventure, hiking, backpacking is only available in those high adventure programs. So if you have any follow-up questions, please reach out. I will say that a primary purpose of the buy-up opportunities is to provide to participating scouts kind of that taste of high adventure, those, dip their toes into those high adventure experiences that, in which we want them to, come back to the summit or come back to some of the other high adventure bases and participate. So, next question is, what is the tent and cot situation? So as I mentioned before, cots are provided for all participants. Tents are available to rent from the summit for a cost of $15 per person through the event management system. One quick note here is that the default for tent rental is that two youth are assigned to a tent, and then one adult is assigned to a tent if tents were reserved. That's our standard. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out, and I'll be happy to chat with anyone who has any concerns there. Okay. So our next question concerns adjusting the number of participants on the registration. As of now, everyone should be able to adjust the numbers on the registration. So it is, of course, crossover season. So hopefully you'll have lots of new Air of Light Scouts crossing over and joining the troop. So you should be able to adjust those on your own. I will say that I regularly get requests for participant number increases. And so please don't hesitate to reach out by email or give me a call if that is something with which you need help. Always happy to help there. One quick note there is we strongly encourage you to make the final number adjustment or participation numbers. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. We strongly encourage you to make any adjustments to your participant numbers before you make the final payment. That will make your life easier and will make our lives easier. Okay, so next question, can you discuss what sharing a campsite looks like if a unit has groups in scout camp and a high adventure experience? So usually that high adventure experience would be summit experience. And if you have been monitoring the chat, you may have seen some conversation that I think John and I had a little bit about this. So if you have units who are participating in both programs at the same time, please reach out to me individually, and I can help make those arrangements. I will say that in general, we discourage summit experience and scout camp groups camping together because the structures of those programs are so different. And so that is one quick note there. We had a couple of units who participated in both programs and camped together last year. We made it work, but it wasn't ideal for those youth and those adults who were trying to make both work. So, like I said, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. If you would like to camp together, we can absolutely make that happen. There are a lot of downfalls, I would say. So please reach out if you want to know more, discuss that. Okay, so the next question concerned personal gear and unit gear. So the lists of the gear for individual scouts and for units that the summit encourages will be shared in the follow-up email after the meeting. So be looking for that. Next question was about when Merit Badging program registration opened. So Merit Badging program registration opened on Thursday, April 18th, 2024 at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. We open registration for all weeks on the same evening at the same time, and we will be camped out here to provide any assistance that is needed. So hopefully we have addressed any concerns and answered any questions well before that. However, if you or a parent or another unit leader run into any challenges, we will absolutely be available to help you navigate that process. Um, Next, where can units find out about arrival and departure procedures? So those procedures are still being finalized because of the movement of our check-in location from last year and many years previously to this year. So these arrangements will be shared in detail at a future webinar or in a future communication. But please know that we will provide very detailed instructions on that process. Another question was that was actually a part of that the previous question was about a map. So maps will be provided to participants. We also provide information on a mobile application that you can use that will geolocate you wherever you are in the summit, which is super helpful. Although I do understand that we don't always want scouts to have mobile devices. So we'll give you both opportunities. And we'll also provide a 2024 location map specific to Scout Camp in the near future too. All right. Our next question was, can another unit be added still? So I'm going to follow up with this unit leader directly, but the answer is yes. So we will take reservations until a week of camp is full. And so that means you need to pad a number until a new registration is finished. We can work that out. That's more of like an individual question. So please feel free to reach out and we can discuss specific situations as needed. As we mentioned before, the program schedule will be released on or before Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. That's the date of the next webinar, and that is the schedule from which your youth and your unit stakeholders can plan the stay at camp for your scouts. Finally, someone asked about camping space limitations. So essentially, you'll have plenty of room to spread out. So here in Scout Camp will use a couple of camping sections of the Delta subcamp. Each of those sections is built to hold 2,000 participants, so about 6,000 total. And the maximum participation in Scout Camp each week is 500. So you'll have plenty of room to spread out and plenty of room to relax and enjoy camp. One quick note there, kind of a related topic, is that further on in the process, we will ask unit leaders about their camping preference. So, for example, are you a boy troop who would rather camp with other boy troops, or are you a girl troop who would rather camp with other girl troops? Or, as the case is increasingly, are you a linked troop that wants to camp together or very close by? So we will help we'll provide an avenue for you to let us know your preference later on in that process. But we have the space to be very accommodating on those requests. All right. So that concludes the questions that were submitted through about 6:30 this evening. Again, please feel free to reach out at any time. And so kind of as we look toward wrapping up the main presentation piece here, we will have 2 additional webinars that cover topics relevant to everyone on the last Tuesday of February and March, the dates for which are listed here. We will have an optional non-agenda webinar on April 16th, 2024, which is 2 days before Merit Badge and Program registration opens. The intention of that webinar is to provide specific assistance to any unit leaders who might need it or might want it. So there's no presentation or agenda for that webinar. Okay. All right. It wouldn't be a scouting presentation without a plug for the trading post. So please visit gardengroundoutfitters.com or store.summitbsa.org to order some fantastic summit swag, including custom crew t-shirts for your experience, whether that's scout camp and or something else. Garden Ground Outfitters has lots of cool summit swag, so make sure to check that out. The good news is if you don't pre-order anything, Garden Ground Outfitters is kind of headquartered in the bunker, which shares a space in Pickett headquarters. So the trading post is never far away. So I've got, looks like there are one or two questions in the chat that are unanswered. At this point, the webinar is concluded. If you don't have any questions, you're more than welcome to leave. And like I mentioned already, a follow-up summary will be emailed to the primary unit leaders very soon. Thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, I will hang out to answer questions. And in about 2 minutes, I'll let people unmute and get on camera if they need to. So Heather asks, when are camperships awarded? So camperships are, the decisions on camperships will be made typically in April, and the recipients of those camperships will be notified. Any youth who has received a campership will have a credit on the registration, on the unit registration for that amount. So for example, if a youth in your unit was awarded, let's say, $250 in a campership, that amount would be deducted from the total remaining balance for the unit. So again, that notification comes out in April. In the follow-up email, I'll give you a specific date because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. But in April, and as I said, that'll be credited to the unit account. All right. So I'm going to allow individuals to unmute if they have a question. I'll continue to answer questions in the chat. So you can unmute if you'd prefer to ask your question verbally. So Heather asks, so we get a reimbursement from our troop if a campership is awarded. So Heather, that's a really good question. So we typically encourage unit leaders to hold off paying for individual scouts for whom you're waiting on a campership decision until you know what that award will be. And so the recommendation would be to not pay for that scout until you know what the amount of the award will be. That said, any reimbursement would be directly from the unit if you overpay in any way. Let's see. So I had a question in the chat. Do we offer the Merit Badge Midway? So I believe, and I don't know this for sure, but I believe that the Merit Badge Midway was a program that that Scout Camp here at the Summit offered maybe in the past. I think I know a little bit about it, not an expert. However, so all of our Merit Badge options are scheduled. So any sessions in which your scouts want to participate, they'll need to register for those in Black. Let's see. Okay. So I have a question about the Whitewater Merit Badge. So the Whitewater Merit Badge is, I believe we opened that to scouts 12 and older. I'm going to make a note just because I'm kind of questioning myself. But typically, so the scouts don't have to be 14 to participate in the Whitewater Merit Badge. I believe we say 12 and older. Let me double check, and I will include that in the follow-up email. Sorry, I don't have the final answer right here, right now, but they definitely don't have to be 14. I believe we say 12. Let's see. So Keith asks, if you are waiting on a camper ship, don't make a payment, but register them for camp. Yeah. So Keith, you can put you can attach the name of the scout to your unit roster, to your registration in the event management system. And then you can hold off on paying for them. The one note here is that when a unit makes their payments, right, that any payments decrease the balance as a whole. And so if you hold off on making that final payment until you have that campership decision, that's an option. Or if you hold off on making the payment for that individual, that's also an option. So, and that's kind of one of those specific or unit specific like timeline payment questions that I was referencing earlier. So if your unit falls a little bit um, out of that timeline, then that's okay. Um, let's see. And Wes, yeah, these slides will be emailed out. Okay, so Keith asks where he registers them. So Keith, you would register your scouts in the event management system where you place your initial reservation or registration. And I can, if you want to maybe either shoot me an email or give me a call offline, I'll be happy to help you with that process. But um, that's um, that's where that's where you enter them, and then that's a key part because, like I mentioned before, the summit waivers are generated through that system, and they have to be on your roster to be able to apply for a keepership. All right. Does anyone else have any questions for me?
Hello.
Hi.
The summer camp meeting is almost over.
All right. Excuse me, any other questions for tonight? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining, everyone. Um, we will see you next month. And like I mentioned, please feel free to reach out at any time. Have a fantastic evening. And Becky, I will answer your question. Um, let's see. Okay. So Becky, um, so when you click that campership link in the, um, in that file that we shared, that will take you to the event management platform. So if you give me just a second, I'll actually just share that screen with you really quickly. And let's see, so anyone can see that. So give me 1 second. Okay. So 2 monitors, so I have to excuse. All right. Okay. So uh, Becky, you should be able to see my screen. This is the page that's linked to that campership instructions page. So you'll notice that when it comes up for me, my .scouting username and my password, which are saved, come up. And so in order to access this information, your son must have, or the youth must have a my.scouting account, um, which either or your unit leader should be able to assist you in having that, and figuring out what that is. And so once you click login, um, it will bring up this form. And so if you look here, you'll notice that all of my information is pre-populated because it's connected to my scouting account. Um, and then you can, there are a couple of questions that are specific to the campership application that you will need to answer. And then you'll submit it, and then you'll be notified of the decision soon after that. So If you camperships, I found last year um, were something that often were specific to the individual, or there was like an individual thing that was off or amiss that needed to be fixed before the scout could apply. So if that's the case, feel free to reach out and we'll do our best to help. Let's see. So um, Keith, I put my phone number in the chat there, and it will also be included in the follow-up email. Um, let's see, Catherine. Let's see, Catherine. So when merit badges are ready on Blackpug, will the link to Blackpug be available and linked to our event manager registration? All of the contact registration. Okay. So Catherine, that's a good question. So the unfortunately Blackpug and the event management system do not talk. So we essentially open Blackpug for the session for each session of camp and provide links to unit leaders to register. We also provide assistance in transferring that information because we understand that it's kind of a weird process. So I also provide really detailed instructions for like how to do and what to do. Um, but essentially, you'll be able to create your own registration in the week that you're attending, or I will do that for you. So both are options, but we try to make that process as easy as possible. And so our goal, and I think we got here last year, but our goal is to make sure that um, that no one has any questions when registration night starts. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's great to know that you know Black Pug. Yeah, it is. We're very fortunate in the sense that it is a system with which many people are familiar. So that's fantastic. So we use it, the same way most people do. So we'll try to make it as painless as possible. Keith asked if the recording of the webinar will be available, and the answer is yes. Typically, I share the link. Um, typically, I share the link in the follow-up email, and then it will also be available at summitbsa.org. Hey, Heather, you are raising your hand. Did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Thanks. Because I was trying to type it and it was very confusing.
Yeah, no worries.
So the question is, in order, because I don't remember what I did because I did it a while ago. If I applied for the campership, did I register? Because I don't remember. So that I mean, I would have to register in order to do the campership, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
there are two things there. So one is that um, that a scout has to be registered in the BSA. And so that I know that sounds super obvious, but last year I encountered a couple of situations where a scout's local council registration was not there. There was some kind of issue with it, and so that meant that they couldn't be put on the roster in the event management system. So unfortunately, that's not a problem that we can fix here at the summit, but we can see if that is the problem. So that's one. The other is most and hopefully all of the scouts in any group are registered members of the BSA, and there are no issues. If that's the case, then the unit leader just has to add those scouts to the roster to ensure that they can access the campership portal, because otherwise the campership portal will send a message to the potential applicant that they're not eligible. And if they're not eligible, that either means they're an adult, because adults aren't eligible for campership awards. That means that they are a scout who is not registered properly, or the most common one is they are a scout who is not on the roster yet. So that's those are the three possibilities. The most likely is that the scout is not on the roster yet.
Okay, so but if they don't get one of those not eligible messages, then we can assume that everything is fine.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question. And I think the key thing is like if you have scouts who need camperships, ask the unit leader. If you are the unit leader, I would encourage you to like put, know who those scouts are and put them on your registration so that that campership application would be open to them any whenever they're ready or as soon as they're ready.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Good to hear you again.
I'm glad you remembered me. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And let us know if you want to come visit. Um, all right, thanks so much, everyone. Have a fantastic evening, and we are looking forward to seeing you this summer.